There we go. Hey, everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoble, and you are on the lifeboat. Can I get a 5x5? I feel like I am massively echoing in my own ears, and I hate that. But since we have a huge delay, I'm going to tap dance here while one of you tells me that I sound okay. All righty, there we go. And we're okay. Gives you an idea of just how long that takes. Oh, Barb, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Christy Caldwell, glad you're here. Andrew, Lene, Awaken by the Looking Glass. Misha, always a pleasure. Donna Wheeler, thank you. Goddess Divine. Russ, we got a lot of fantastic feedback off of the interview that I did yesterday with Russ. And, you know, an amazing thing happened. I got an email from somebody that said I had the exact same thing happen to me. And through the same organization. And he's going to be reaching out to some people for some help. And that's really why you do the things that we do. And my hat's off to Russ. Russ, you're making a difference, and you're making a difference instantly. It's not even a day after that came out, and that's beautiful stuff. Snotface says, oh gosh, let's get some good vibes going on again today because it sucked. I love you all. You know what? We all have those days. We all have those days, but it's not going to be one of them. Today is going to be a day where we talk about the whole seizing the day kind of a thing. We've done a few shows on specifically that, right? On holy snikes, exactly. It's already happening. We've done a lot of shows, even with the Carpe Diem, kind of a name in the title. But the thing with seizing the day, right? The thing with actually doing any of this, what you're doing is embracing change. Changes. This is the most difficult concept for all of us to do because it goes against everything that the addicted mind digs, right? So your dome piece just wants to keep doing exactly what it has been doing. It wants to go the path of least resistance, which is what it knows. So if you spent 30 years getting high, and it doesn't matter what you were getting high on, or if you spent 5 years, why, thank you, Snotface. God bless you. If you spent 3 years, if you spent 2 years, whatever the case may be, we trained the brain that instead of having to fire and do all of that stuff that really needs to happen, right? We could just avoid all of that. We could just avoid all of that. We're going to put the right key into the right receptor. We're going to turn it, and we're going to flood us with chemicals that are going to make us forget everything. And we're just going to get into that mode of, I got nothing in life that bothers me because I'm high. We're going to have to break out of that in a vicious way, right? Like throwing the chair through the plate glass window, kind of break out of that. Because in order to become what you want to be, you are going to have to go out of your way to embrace change. Every aspect. My goodness, man. We bought some new coffee that's really heavy. Like this coffee it bites back. You take a sip and it's like slaps you in the face unless you know that it's coffee. And it's tough stuff. And I've been drinking far too much of it. So I'm going to back off a bit, I promise. But I've been burping it. It's getting a recurring thing. It's because earlier I had some snot face. That's a beautiful thing to say. John Wayne Mudd. There is a prison term. When you go and bum coffee from somebody in prison, you do the can I get a shot of mud? And usually that's when the spoon will stick straight up and down. Sadly, in prison, caffeine is a drug. In fact, I think the drugs of choice, if people had their druthers, would be caffeine and nicotine in prison. That's why it's $25 for a cigarette. But yeah, those are two that are huge in there. So this concept of embracing change is something that you're going to hate. I promise. It goes against everything that we do, right? I mean, just everything against it. So to get into the concept of embracing change, I'm going to go with 5 bullet points. I'm starting this whole bullet point thing, Johnny.
I dig bullet points.
You know what? I'm starting this bullet point thing. And the reason is because there was a time. Oh, there was a time. You've seen the movie Lucky Number 11?
Of course.
There was a time. There was a time where, I don't know. So the whole going out and winging it and doing the hour thing has been a lot of fun. However, when I actually start putting together some notes and some things that I kind of want to touch on, we actually move through this whole 1 hour in a far more organized fashion. It leaves people feeling like, hey, maybe we're going to walk away with this something from this hour of Tommy doing that thing that he does every single night so that we can all come together and talk, acknowledging the need for change. Accepting change in rehab begins with acknowledging the need for transformation and recognizing that current patterns or behaviors need adjustment for personal growth and recovery. I remember reading this and thinking, you want to talk about somebody that just wrote this wrong? I mean, we church stuff up as addicts. It's part of what we do. But listen to this one more time and tell me that this baby ain't churched up. Accepting change in rehab begins with acknowledging the need for transformation and recognizing that current patterns or behaviors need adjustment. I got news for you. Your current patterns need so much more than adjustment. Your current patterns suck and they're killing you. Right? Plain and simple. Great euphemism, though. Your current patterns or behaviors need adjustment for personal growth and recovery. If you don't know at this stage of the game that what you're doing is killing yourself, then go off and do a little more of it and then come back. Because that's really how it works. And I'm sure I'll get hate mail for that, but it's the truth. If you haven't done enough dope, you're going to keep doing it. If you haven't drank enough beers, you're going to keep drinking it. But you know what? Every once in a while, and I promise you, I'm not joking when I say every once in a while, you meet that one person that really is on the edge. You meet that one person who could go either way. They could go and drink another 3,000 drinks before they're ready to set it down. Or they could do another 750 days of stealing to support their habit. Or they can seize the day. Or they can make today the day they go, you know what? I'm listening to Tommy again and I got a beer in my hand. Because a couple of you are doing that right now. And I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you if there's a mirror in front of you with a razor blade on it either, or a credit card and a dirty $1 bill. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. What matters is that you're here and you're listening to the sound of my voice, and it's not because I'm handsome as hell, and it's not because it's just the soothing tones of Tommy's voice just brings everybody back. It's because you know deep down that you got a problem, right? You're on the lifeboat because you got a pretty good idea that something you're doing, you're not in control of. So making that, hold on one moment. This is important. Let me get this here real quick. I am putting this up there and I'm going to take a second to talk about it because we have somebody that probably needs to know about this. Wednesday, the BSA, that would be the Boy Scouts of America, is having an informative town hall for victims to bring all of us up to date on what is going on with this suit. It's at 8 p.m. And if you would like to hit a night yard, yeah, that would be fantastic. That would be a really good time. Russ, and we'll do that. That is Wednesday night. So you heard that. We're going to do a night yard on Wednesday night. Is that Kat Kaplan? Well, first-time viewer. Welcome, Kat Kaplan. Welcome to the lifeboat. Always nice when we get a first-time viewer. Night boats are fun too. This is a cool time of the day. If you're new to the boat, we come here every 5 o'clock. So 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. We come together and we discuss issues that deal specifically with sobriety. I wonder all the time. I sit in this chair. I have conversations with people. This is something that comes up all the time. What percentage of the people listening to me are getting wasted? This really is something that you can't escape thinking if you're sitting in this chair, right? You'd like to believe that, 95% of you have all decided to put down whatever it is you're doing. I know that's not the case. Just from the number of emails I get and playing percentages in my dome, I'm thinking that probably about 30 to 40% of the audience of the lifeboat probably is still using. And it's never been a problem for me. Truthfully, I got no issue at all with that at all. But the time comes when you have to say, it's today. Here we go. We have a question from Snotface. But what happens when you keep messing up and the health system just keeps telling you to make more appointment? If you can't be sober for a week on your own, makes 0 sense to me. Absolutely makes 0 sense. It really does. Snotface, I would say, since you obviously are under the care of a doctor and they are willing to listen to you, please ask them about naltrexone. This is something that a lot of people are having very, very serious. A lot of people are having success with this. If we can remove the fact that that drinking is fun for you, then beating alcohol becomes a much easier thing. We talk about this all the time, right? We get two different components to addiction. One of them is there's physical dependency with alcohol. And if you drink alcohol every day for, 5 or 6 weeks, you're going to start to develop a very serious dependency on it. That's going to happen to every single human being. The people who have the predisposition to drug addiction are also going to get the reward center of their brain, which releases chemicals, which for any other way to look at it, these are chemicals that get you high, right? You could do a little bit of blow to get this one. You could do a little bit of this to get that one. You could do a little bit of this to get this one. Or your body can release it for any number of reasons it decides to. And one of those reasons is it just tasted beer, right? When that alcohol hits your lips the first time, your body releases all those chemicals and you have not had a minute for that to get into your system and actually make you start feeling better, right? But you feel better instantly, just like the heroin addict that gets the heroin in their hand. You don't even have to break the bag open. And there's instant relief because your brain goes, oh, the important stuff is here, right? The really important stuff is here. Reward this man for buying another bag of heroin because that's important. So if you could eliminate that part of the equation so that the only thing that's still there is the alcohol itself, what I have found with the vast majority of people that I have talked to have said, you know what? Alcohol's not fun. It's not. When you take away the reward center telling you what a great idea it is, all of a sudden people go, yeah, this isn't for me. Makes quitting a lot easier. The health system is going to suck. Snotface. It really is. And it's going to have to be you really taking control of that first week. And I know how difficult that has got to be. And in the environment that we're in right now in the world with you being a military spouse, it is more difficult. But that first week is essential. And please talk to a doctor about every opportunity that is available to you as somebody trying to get sober. If you have the ability to see a doctor, talk to him about medical assisted treatment, stepping off the alcohol by using benzodiazepines, ask them about naltrexone, ask them about anything that you can do. Be your own advocate. If you're having a hard time getting through that first week, make the doctor understand why you're not getting through that first week, right? On day 3, I'm gone. Right? They're going to go, oh, well, booze stays in the system 3 days. So about the time that that's leaving is really where the issue is. Maybe they give you something like lorazepam in a small dose and they ease you off of it. But the blessing that you have a doctor at your ability, you have the ability to speak to a doctor, Snotface, please do, and abuse them, right? Make them earn that paycheck. Please become your best advocate because it will help you massively. Jonathan Hicks says, no, I'm serious. You talked to me, Captain, and then my life went to shit. And then I did it right, and now I'm here. Well, I have that effect on people. Quite often I talk to people and their life goes to crap. Normally they're women, but I'm glad that you're back. And it's a process. It's a long process. It's never, ever going to be easy. And you know what? For the people that it's easy for, you just got to say, God bless them, right? You don't have to be out, Jonathan Hicks. Stick around, please. Please don't leave. You're in the right place. This is difficult. Snotface. I went through this in the prison system because every 5 minutes I got shuffled to somebody else. I have more copays for for consultation appointments. Again, it's crazy. It's like bearing my soul over and over again with no actual help. I would lead with that. That would be the first thing out of my mind to the next person that I talk to. No, there isn't anything easy. I promise you. There's never, for 99.9% of the people, this is going to be an ordeal. That's why we need a channel. That's why we need people to support one another. That's why we lean on each other, because this is the hardest battle and the hardest struggle in the world. But Snotface, if it's me, I'm leading with that, right? That's what I'm leading with. Hey, guess what? I'm tired of bearing my soul over and over again for no apparent help. The first thing that I said to the woman that got me medical assisted treatment and walked me through that entire process, the first thing I said to that woman was, I am not talking to you. I am so sick and tired of bearing my soul. I'm not kidding. That's exactly how it started. Thank you, Jackson. Good to see you, man. I absolutely had that conversation. I said, I'm not doing this. You're the fifth person I've done this with. You're a waste of my time. God bless her. She was the nicest person in the world. She listened to me berate her for probably 8 minutes. I was on a job site. I was standing on the deck of a ship, and I was just lighting this poor woman up. And then she said, do you have any fears? I said, yeah, I'm afraid of relapsing. And that woman ended up being such a huge and important part of my life. And I still talk to her. That's over 3 years ago. But she was the 7th or 8th Snotface. I just got so many bad ones, one right after the other, and people who didn't seem to care. Like you're bearing your soul. And I had just lost my dad and gone through some really heavy stuff. I just got out of prison and watched people get killed. And I was not having a really good time. And I started to work with doctors. And I remember somebody coming by, one of these people, and coming by and saying, got my name wrong. Right. I called and said I was really, really struggling, and I won't bother, but it was way wrong. Like it wasn't, like not Tommy. How about, Mark? Like it was so off. I went, do you know who I am? Do you remember me? It's frustrating. And you know what? They deal with a lot of people. We feel like they should remember us, right? Well, my story's better than that. And my story is important. But it's a matter of becoming your own advocate and continuing to beat that to death, telling them, I'm tired of this, right? You're going to hear it in somebody's voice. There's going to be somebody and you're going to go, oh my God, this is the one. This is the one Tommy was talking about. Jonathan Hicks says, I did a whole year completely sober, only to be divorced, and life sucks. Come on, I'm in a bad way tonight and probably shouldn't be texting. No, you're in the right place, man. You're in the right place. And you should be texting. You know what? Divorce is don't shut up. You don't have to shut up. And good Lord, man, Jonathan, it goes against everything I say, right? This is really what you're supposed to be doing, believe it or not, right? Good stuff. You're here and you're talking about it. Divorce was one of the toughest things in the world for me. And the craziest part is I'm not even really sure how much I cared about her in hindsight. Truthfully, it was a really, really odd, that entire thing was just sort of bizarre, but it was insult to injury, right? For me, this was like, it was the scene in Tommy Boy where the bench breaks and falls over to the left, and he goes, I could have done without that, right? That's where I was. I had just been stabbed. I couldn't get any dope. I was absolutely going through withdrawal, sitting in a pair of paper pants on the floor of a cell in solitary confinement. And then I got the divorce letter. And, Jonathan, I remember that one too. That was the previous marriage, my first marriage. I was absolutely 100% willing to stick together in that marriage till the bitter end for no other reason than kids. And hindsight being 2020, thank God I didn't. Truthfully, thank God I didn't. And not just for me, but I was a horrendous match for the woman that I was married to. And I'm pretty well convinced that she would have drank herself to death if she was still with me. So it was, at the time, I couldn't see that. At the time, I couldn't see past my own hand. And Kat, of course you're more than welcome. I'm sorry, I just missed that. Kat, let me tell you how the lifeboat works. Everybody is welcome. The price of admission is that you're dealing with trauma in your life that you would like to get past, right? That you would like to learn to live with and move on. That's what we do here. The vast majority of people are going to be suffering from that trauma because of addiction. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be. There are people here who are survivors of as many different things as you could possibly think of. And what we have in common here is that you're welcome the second you step onto the deck of the boat. And there's very little that will get that yanked from you, right? Don't be mean to anybody here. We don't pick on anybody for anything. And if you stick to that one, you're pretty safe, right? So we don't argue with people about religion. We don't argue with people about politics. And we defer to kindness. For instance, you don't believe in God, right? Got no belief whatsoever that there's anything out there. And somebody says something like, hey, I'm going to say a prayer for you. If you find that so offensive that you need to tell that person that they're an ass for having the audacity to pray for you, maybe you need to find a different site, right? Just defer to kindness. You don't have to be a believer to go, hey, thanks, I appreciate that. Obviously, that person cares enough about you to take time out of their day to talk to somebody that they believe can help you, whether or not that's the truth. Let's just defer to kindness in everything that we do. And if we do that, I don't think that we're going to go wrong. My first 10 years, I'm not going to take over the meeting. That's all right. Sorry, ain't right. Maybe I'll email you and explain. Hope you remember me somewhat. Real fisherman here and watch fanatic. Jonathan, I remember you. We're not a million people strong, Jonathan. And if you like watches, then chances are I'm going to remember you. But yeah, shoot me an email. But as far as taking over the meeting now, why are we here? We're here to help anybody that feels like they're hurt. Jonathan, this might be your night, bro. Might be your night.
Plus, he's a watch fanatic.
And you're a watch fanatic. It's got to go for something, right? Unless by some chance your favorite watch company happens to be built outside of Switzerland, I'll pretty much let you take over the show. If you're one of those Seiko people, I'm kidding. There's nothing wrong with Seiko, except they're not very good. I'm kidding, but seriously, they're not. Snotface, thank you so much. You know what? Did I just deleted. So I got to figure out how I undo this. All right. Snotface, hold on. I don't know what I've done. This is what happens when Tommy is allowed to touch anything. More actions. How do I unban her? All right, people, hold on. I got to fix a problem. Snotface, be patient.
Hold on a second.
You can do it? Okay. Johnny Scoville could be coming to the rescue. He is a YouTuber. I'm surprised you didn't know that. Hold on. It's probably going to be me.
Yeah, I got it.
You did it?
You want me to,
bring her back.
Time out. Unhide user on this channel. There you go.
You got it?
She should be. Make it.
Okay. I think you're back, Snotface. I apologize, people.
I got that.
All right. See that? That's why Johnny Scoville's got a wrench. He didn't want one. Today is National Candy Corn Day. That would explain why I burned myself earlier on Captain. Today is National Candy Corn Day. You hear that? It's so important. I said it twice. Send Goldberg in.
I love it, Russ.
You know what, Martha? This is a beautiful thing to say. It really is. Jonathan Hicks, hun, when you shift your life, your relationships shift. I'm sorry, but keep the faith. Good people and good things are in your future. Just hold on and show up here. I'm going to tell you something too. Boy, I would have loved to do this just the way I'd like to do it, but I can't on this channel. So what I will say is this. What I will say is you just don't know. And if I've learned anything in sobriety, never forget that the best ingredient in candy corn is the shellac. Susie Q, you are so close to going in timeout.
I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
He'll just get you right out.
I got you.
Yeah, no, there's something to that. Yeah. Martha's right. And when I look back over the 8 years of my sobriety, if you took a snapshot at any point during that 8 years and brought it to me today and sat it down in front of me, I'd be like, no, there's no way. At any given time, I think that I know where the future's going. I think I know what my future is going to be. I think I know how all of these things come into place. And I don't have a clue. Right? I don't have a clue. And I promise you, you don't either. And it is a challenging process to accept change to the point where you can say, I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I'm excited for it. And it is the high of sobriety. I promise. It's the high of sobriety. See, when we were drug addicts, we'll use me as an example. I knew what Monday was going to look like, and it was going to look like Friday, which was going to look like Sunday or Tuesday, which was get drugs, put it in my arm, right? Go to bed, get up, get the money, get the drugs, put it in my arm. And that was it, right? Now I live in a world where I don't have a clue what next Tuesday looks like. I don't know what's going to happen. I never have any idea. I could be in Vegas being interviewed by somebody, but no matter what it is, the only constant is going to be that I'm not going to be getting high. I understand this, Jonathan. I really struggled with the submission thing, right? And I understand why it's a bad word for you, because as addicts, it is our least favorite word, right? We would like to be in control of everything. As addicts, we want to be in control of everything, and we want to be in control of everything instantly. So if I'm feeling bad at 10:02, right, then there's got to be a drug that can have me feeling good at 10:03. I should not have to deal with any BS. I should have a 60-second change of attitude that's going to last me 8 hours, and I'm willing to pay about $100 for that, right? Up to $100 for that. Well, that's what we did, right? Isn't that what we did? We submitted to nothing except the drug. If we start feeling like crap, there's a drug for that. If I start feeling like I'm really slow or I can't do enough heroin because I'm tired, I did meth. It kept me up longer. I could do more heroin, but I had something for everything. That first no lie, I am going to submit to life. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm taking what comes and I'm going to cope with it. And I'm going to cope with it without that $100 cop out. Because that's what it is, right? This is uncomfortable. I don't like it. On the bright side, I can make it go away for $100, right? I can make it go away for $100.
Thank you.
You know how many $100 that I spent over the course of 3 decades? I could buy Miami. I'm not kidding. Every once in a while, every heroin addict does this. But every once in a while, you sit down and you go, you know what? I was doing about 7 G's a day. And then you start doing the math, right? And forget going back to the old days when it was 300 a grand. If you just run it by today's math, I start going, I could pay off this house for cash. I could put a Ferrari in the parking lot because it was just ungodly amounts of money. And the reason that I spent millions of dollars on that crap is because, truthfully, I refuse to submit to anything.
It's a great question.
I've been doing it. I'm not doing bad, but I know how close I am. Oh, wow, what a great dose of truth. Huh? Good stuff. Good stuff. Been doing it. I'm not doing bad, but I know how close I am. Well, Jonathan, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Does that feel good? Seriously, because in the first couple of times, it didn't feel very good for me, but you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Hope everybody's paying attention to this. Because honestly, what started out that, you feel like you're not helping, what you're doing is helping massively. If you're where Jonathan is, this is how you get through it. You come here and you talk out through the things that are bothering you. And you know what's crazy is there's somebody out there that just heard submission and went, oh man, that's me, right? I'll get an email tonight that someone will say, this is exactly the show that I needed. It wasn't my show. It was Jonathan Hick's show, right? Snotface asks, would that mean that a type A personality would be more prone to drug use because they need to be in control? Or would it be the opposite because they don't have any control over their body? You could go either way on this, Snotface, and I'm sure that there are people a lot smarter than me that could weigh in on this and do it with style. I'm of the firm belief that in my life, the fact that I felt the need to be in control at all times was probably the driving force in my addiction more than anything. I didn't like having outside influences be able to determine what my day was going to be like, right? I didn't like the feeling that I wasn't as smart as the next guy, or the feeling that I felt stupid because of the assignment that was put in front of me. When I started to feel like different from everybody else, I knew I could make that change. So for me, being a control freak was definitely something that was huge in my addiction. Yeah, Mr. Ray, that happens to a lot of people. He said my cousin used to hustle lots of money to do drugs, thousands and thousands of dollars. And when she got sober, she can't make enough money to pay attention. You know why that is more often than not is because what you get back is you get back things like respect, self-respect, right? Things that you would never do. We do things for drugs that we would never, ever do. Me going and becoming a bank robber. I promise you, it's not one that I got to do. Love to all. Got a roof to tear off tomorrow. Feel better. Thanks, Jonathan Hicks. I'm glad to hear that. If you don't send me an email, I'm going to track you down and make you wear a Seiko.
Wow.
Yeah, you heard it. And it's not even going to be a nice Seiko. You know which one. I have a Seiko with your name on it. So you better, Russ. This is a comment that you hear a lot, right? People say retired drug dealers. Oh, there's a lot of them. They have an entire retirement community for them, right? It's called the feds. Yeah, it's called the feds. And it really is where a lot of people are going to do their, their retirement life. It's a rugged existence. I promise you. It's not something that you want to do. Jonathan, Quiet Girl says, sending you sweet dreams. And you know what? I think we're all in agreement, Jonathan. You deserve some sweet dreams, brother. And good luck with that roof. Please be safe and reach out to me. When you start talking the way that our friend Jonathan was talking, right? As uncomfortable as it is, that's healing people. And that's him embracing change. It probably didn't sound like that's how he was starting the day, right? But that's because we all get a little bit angry at this process. It's hard. It's not fun. It goes against everything that, look, drugs make you feel great. This is the opposite route. This is the I'm not going to feel good till I learn how to feel good route. It's going to suck, right? Drugs are way easier. Stop what you're doing. Happy birthday, Zenwen. It is ZW's birthday. It is.
Wow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zenwen. Happy birthday to you. ZW has been one of the kindest human beings to step on the lifeboat ever. And like Miss V and, just like certain people that from the very first day they show up, you're like, she was here yesterday, right? There just doesn't, it's hard to remember a time when there wasn't a Zenwen on the boat. V is the same way. And V agrees. She says she is such an awesome person. She really is. She really, really is. And this one is for a happy birthday for Zen. Zen, we love you. And you know what? I was talking to somebody about this. I think it was yesterday. We throw the love thing around a lot. And there are people who I think are uncomfortable by it. I take that back. There are a ton of people who are uncomfortable by it. And I would have been. I promise. I would have been that dude. Because I take the love thing super seriously. You know what I mean? But make it, so that this is not at all messed up for anybody to try to wrap their brain around, right? Thank you, Martha. I'll take sweet dreams. I will absolutely take sweet dreams. The L word freaks me out, says Susie Q. I know it does for a lot of people. And when everybody starts saying it, sometimes it loses a little bit of its punch, right? But don't you dare, Jackson. I will come out there and turn this boat around. You better not slow down. Jackson does love everybody. It's legit. It is. Absolutely legit. And I love Jackson. I mean it. The love thing here takes a minute to get used to. And I can't tell you how uncomfortable it was sitting in this chair because I'm not the L guy. But what I've come to realize is this. I do love every single person who has ever struggled with an addiction. I do. I love them. It's the reason that I'm here. Hold on one second. Well, this just sucks. Hold on. Ultra Maggot. Who are we talking about, brother? That was just a terrible comment. All right. You're going to have to, I'll do the tap dance while you explain this one because I need to. Messing around with pills. Not totally sure. He told me if he goes deaf, he's going to take a bunch of fentanyl and OD on purpose. I don't know who said that. It's not good. It really is not good. That's yesterday we lost Matthew Perry. Did I say that name right?
Yeah, sure did.
It's Matthew Perry, right? Yesterday we lost Matthew Perry, and there is so much speculation right now about what killed him. They said that there were no drugs found at the scene, right? This was not a guy that was sticking needles in his arms. This was a guy that was eating pills. There were a lot of prescriptions that were found. I am praying, that is not what happened. He really, if you haven't done any deep diving on this, he honestly was quoted as saying that he did not want to be remembered for friends, that he wanted to be remembered for being a friend to anybody struggling with addiction, that he wanted to never be somebody that didn't say yes if somebody asked for help and that their problem was drugs or alcohol. And that's just breaks your freaking heart when there's somebody that gets it, that we lose. And he died. He's my age, way too young to die. But yeah, I sent a message on My Family React, says Maggot, Ultra Maggot. And he got super pissed and now isn't talking to me. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. And you know something, people, please listen to this one for me if you can. When people say things like, if this doesn't happen, I'm going to take my life. If this happens, I'm going to take my life. It is the worst form of blackmail on planet Earth. And I will tell you that as the captain of the lifeboat, it is a fast way to reach the end of me because I've dealt with it for 2 years. There are people who believe that it's the best way to get someone's attention. It is the best way to lose mine. It's not something that we play with. And by the way, if you tell me that you're thinking of doing that and I have the ability to make sure someone gets out to you, I'm going to do that. Right? That's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
You say that twice.
Yeah. I mean, for real, if you tell me you intend to hurt yourself, I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure that doesn't happen. But there are phone numbers out the wazoo and people that you can reach out to. If you're starting to feel at that level, for the love of God, please reach out, right? Everything we talk about here on the lifeboat is a temporary problem. You understand that? For real, all of it. They're all temporary problems. Even if they're the worst problems in the world, they're all temporary problems. And that is a solution that nobody needs because it is so freaking permanent.
Wow, really?
My ex-girlfriend would always call me baby names. She once called me Schmoopy. I couldn't deal with it. 90% of the population, undateable. There's a lot of truth to that. I had a friend. I know you're shocked, but I really did. I had one once. And he and his girlfriend, when they first started dating, were talking about the nickname thing and how people say, honey or peach or whatever. So they tried to go with what he thought would be they were clowning around about the worst nickname that you come up with. And he ended up with broccoli. And 10 years later, like that I never heard him call her anything but that. And I just thought, now that is a nickname. Good Lord in heaven. That is the most frightening thing I've ever heard. Snotface says, yes, but be sure to know that if you reach out to those places and you have a substance in your system, they will automatically send police to your house. Just FYI. I can't speak to that. I really can't. I don't know if that is how the case is and if that's in every state or how that works. I will tell you this. I'm not a big fan of having police at my house. I've been really clear about this over the years. In fact, people that say things like, I'm going to call the cops are never going to speak to me ever again, right? It's that big a deal in my life. I don't like them there, but I'd rather have them at my house, right? Than me do something stupid. And if you're in that place, maybe they should be out there, right? For real. We don't want to put on a tie ever again on the lifeboat, and we're going to have to. It's just how it works. It's a sad thing, but you know what? Let's not do it at our own hands. Let's not let anything like that. Never. He's diabetic and experiencing hearing loss. He said he doesn't want to live that way, and he's going to OD on purpose. Yeah, see, those kind of statements really, really flip my switch. And it's probably because of the fact that I sit here and I get that when someone says that, it's just manipulative. It's all it is. It's manipulative, and it's terrible, and no one should ever have to deal with that. You understand? If there are people in your 5, that doesn't mean they're allowed to kick you around, right? That is something that is super unhealthy, and it should never happen. Amen. When I'm sober, all I think about is using. I just want to be sober. Matt C. Matt, if you don't mind me asking, brother, what is your drug of choice? I'm sorry.
He hasn't answered yet.
He has not. Well, let's see. Who do we got here?
That's not a weird thing to say.
Well, that's odd. Hey, Jenny Medley, welcome to the lifeboat. Good to see you. Was I wrong to tell my family on a group text what my brother told me? He's not talking to me because I told them. I don't know the dynamics of your family, Ultra Maggot. I would have done the same thing. I would have. That's not something. What is the other option? The other option is if you put that away, right? And you don't do anything about it, right? All of the ramifications that come from that. If it's me, I'm throwing that puppy out. You understand? I'm not going to have that on my conscience. If somebody then ends up in the worst possible case scenario, I'm going to spend the rest of my time on this planet saying, why didn't I talk to him? Why didn't I tell everybody else? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? Right? Boy, Brett, you nailed it. He says, removing the crowd was important for me in my chase for sobriety. Wow. A chase for sobriety. See what he did there? The bus and the boat. Well played, Brett. Removing the crowd was huge for me. And I never liked the crowd, which is really crazy because you don't. Attaboy, Danny. To what actually, I believe what he says. Far be it from me to ever correct somebody, especially a professional. No, what he says is, okay, then what is the problem? Good. Then what is the problem? Like he thinks that that's a good idea. I am so sorry, JJ. And you know something? This is a great opportunity to say something that doesn't get said enough on the lifeboat. I can't do a show without triggering 15 people. Right? Boo-boo, an acceptable nickname, asking for a friend. As long as you're not calling me that, I think it's a great nickname. I don't know that I want to be a boo-boo, but hey, if we don't, somebody else will boo-boo. I didn't really have any removing the crowd for me. I didn't like any of the people in the crowd. It was just the dope. Right. And while I was in the life, I didn't understand that. You convince yourself what these people mean to you. And about 6-8 months after you remove the dope from your life, you find that these people, not only are they not as important to you as they once were, but if you're honest, there's nothing to talk to these people about. Every once in a while, there's a couple of people that I know that actually had managed to get sober. Nevertheless, we still do not have anything in common other than the fact that we're both sober. So when the two of us will get on the phone, all we do is talk about times we were together and doing drugs. I got to be honest. I don't have a lot of time for those conversations anymore. You know, I spend enough time telling stories and stuff here that I just don't need to live in the past, especially with those people. And the stories that I tell, if you heard the same story from someone that doesn't do what I do, it would have a very different ring to it. I really don't want to live in a world where that's glorified in any way. And it's something that you got to be careful of, because most of the people who have me on want me to glorify bank robbery. They want me to glorify theft. They want me to glorify, you know, the dope and everything else, because it makes for a better story. But the truth of the matter is, most of that, my life made me just disgusted with who I was. It's fantastic that I've been able to move on. And that's really kind of what I'd like to talk about. I tried talking to him. He blocked me on everything. His reaction to this is so dramatic. Well, Ultra Maggot, This is something that is huge among addicts, right? This is righteous indignation, and it is our favorite thing in the world, right? If you give an addict anything to be indignant on, they're going to be, right? And we learn it at a very young age in addiction, right? Especially, it's different for guys and girls. Everybody deals with things, but if you're 6'2", right, and you're 230 pounds, when somebody says, you know what, you look like you're using or anything else, you go to righteous indignation. You raise your voice a little bit, right? And you learn early on that you can back people off. I can't believe you got the guts to accuse me of that, right? You know that I've been addicted to this stuff and I've been fighting this, and you just start with the lies. And right, it's something that we do. So I'm not surprised that this is going to be something that's dramatic. If he's talking about, I'm just going to eat enough fentanyl to take myself out, this sounds like somebody that is probably in the life, and drama is a really big part of that life. I'm sorry that you're dealing with it, man. I would reach out to him and I would just say, look, you know what? If you end up taking your own life, it's not going to be, something I didn't share with everyone that cares about you. It's my responsibility. Holy hell, what did you think I was going to do? Right? My responsibility is to walk away and just let you do what you do? No, I share that with everybody. There's a reason I did it where I did, because it's a smart thing to do. You did the right thing. Yankee Kyle is a member for 3 months, but he has been sober. Are you ready?
35 years.
35 years. I am not going to live long enough to do that.
How old is he? How old are you, Yankee Kyle?
Yankee Kyle. Johnny Scoville would like to know how old you are. Hanging with Ray says, I dumped 90% of my phone list. I have my mom's number, and I have my stepmom's number. I have my dad's number, and I have one friend's number and Tommy's, and that's it. Boy, you know what? You can't tell people you have my number. They'll go nuts. Now you're going to get text messages. You're going to say, he has a phone. Truthfully, it never rings.
He doesn't have my number.
I don't have your number either. Tommy and Johnny, love and respect to all. 3 a.m. comes quick. And to all of my friends and family on here, please be safe tonight. And I hope to see you all in the morning. And we will see you on Night Yard on Wednesday. Russ, thanks again for your bravery last night, man. Really good stuff. Yeah, ZW, thoughts and prayers on ZW struggling with roommate issues, and it's a thing. Zelda says, I'm so sorry, Zen. I went through something similar and finally got my roommate out. It was so hard coming home to his addiction.
35 years old.
Wish I could help. Yankee Kyle is 35 years old and 35 years sober. You know what? My daughter was that way, and then and we've talked about this. I don't feel bad saying it, but my daughter tried weed about a year ago. Hold on a second. But she used to say the same thing. Nuts and Board says, do you believe addiction is in the genes? In my family, I saw different versions of it. My eldest brother, it was drugs. My other, it was food, etc. The addiction is just a symptom, right? So the problem will be drugs, food. The symptom will be drugs or food or whatever. The problem is going to be things inside that we don't deal with in the right way, and we use, food or drugs or habits or whatever as coping mechanisms. Do I believe it's in the genes? It is in the genes. That is an absolute fact. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed, to end up just the same way as your mother or father or whatever. That's not something that, and a lot of people trip up on that. My daughter has a father who was addicted to heroin, and did every other drug on the planet. Her mom is an alcoholic who was addicted to heroin. So my daughter knows that she's a genetic time bomb, right? She has the ability to get addicted to things. That's just a luck, right? It's something that we know that it is passed down. Doesn't mean it's a luck, right? You in theory, right? People have addicted parents, and look, if you never try a drug, you don't have much to worry about. Living in your past inhibits your future. It's so difficult to say goodbye to that life. It takes heart and soul to find our place in the world. Living for the now is reality.
Wow,
beautiful, right? That's Quiet Girl. Quiet Girl works as a personal assistant to the captain of the lifeboat, which means she has the worst job in North America, and does it on a voluntary basis, which is even more incredible. But that's beautiful. Quiet Girl. I almost said her name. I'm not trying to do that. I think I definitely have an addictive personality disorder. I got hooked into Scientology basically in the first 10 minutes of the aftermath. Um, you know what, Snotface? You very well may have an addictive personality. I think most of us here would say that. Science is now saying that it doesn't exist. They can say that till the end of time. Hello, Cemetery 76. Really good to see you. I was just talking about you today. Well, I wasn't, but I was talking about the Glycine Airman. I sold him the most beautiful wristwatch you've ever seen in your life. I still am physically reeling from selling this watch, a real one. I sold him a 1960s Glycine Airman. It's got the 24-hour dial. I think I sent you pictures of it. I loved that watch. Don't really like him anymore since he bought it. In fact, he bought all of my great watches. He has a great collection. Good to see you, Cemetery. Glad that you're here in spite of the fact that you took every watch I like. By the way, the fact that it's in the genes, it skips, right? People say, my grandfather was a raging alcoholic, but my dad never touched the stuff. If they never touched the stuff, that doesn't mean they weren't an alcoholic. It means that they never touched the stuff, right? You can be a drug addict that never uses. I know this is a concept that is really hard. Does the Pulp Fiction watch still have dysentery on it? I have a Pulp Fiction watch, but no, there's no dysentery on it. I held this uncomfortable hunk of metal in my kitchen since cleaning it. Openness to new perspectives. That's number 2 on my, I've got 5 to get through and I've got a few minutes to do it. Openness and new perspectives. Being receptive to different viewpoints, therapeutic interventions, and guidelines from professionals facilitates all kinds of good things. If you are still one of those people that thinks that anyone that is a professional can do nothing to help you in addiction, you should get a tack hammer, whack yourself a few times in the dome. I understand that it goes against most everything that we think as addicts, right? We don't like asking for help. We don't like accepting it. I promise you it will change your life. It has certainly changed mine. You can be addicted to addicts. Absolutely, you can, right? We call that codependency. And it is a very, very real thing. And there are people who go from, Ian, do not confuse, I'm sorry, but do not confuse Seiko and Grand Seiko. These are 2 very different things, right? That's like confusing Datsun and Ferrari, right? They're sort of the same thing. They're not. The Grand Snowflake by the Snowflake model by Grand Seiko has that also has the spring drive, which is a movement that is just makes you want to drool. That is as nice a watch as a Rolex. It's probably better built. There you go. I said it. Not happy about it, but I said it. Adaptivity and flexibility. Embracing change in rehab involves cultivating adaptivity and flexibility. This includes being open to trying new coping strategies, learning alternative behaviors, and adjusting the unfamiliar environment of recovery. If you knew the number of times people said to me, I'm not doing that. Right? I'm going to get sober. I'm not going to do that. Like that, the daily affirmation stuff, that's just hokey. And I'm not going to sit in front of a mirror and tell myself that I'm a good person. I'm not doing that. As you start going down this list of stuff that I tell you to do and say, I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that, and the exercise thing is not such a big deal, I'm not doing that, I promise you, we'll still be here. Right? We'll still be here. We'll be doing the same thing, and we won't judge you. We won't. Oh, Todd's got the Grand Seiko 5 diameters, 300 spring drive. Beautiful, beautiful. Your daughter did well. It's a great watch. Really a great watch. Well, if you buy a Grand Seiko, then I will. I'll respect that, Ian. And get one of the new ones, like the spring drive one, is really. I mean, it's a Rolls Royce. It really is. It's a great watch. They also say that they do not recommend the first tune-up on that watch for 10 years, which is pretty heavy. That's as long as anybody out there. Ben Turner, you're on a stationary bike. That's multitasking. Well played. Commitment to self-reflection. Accepting change often involves self-reflection. You know how we do that, right? Journaling. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. It requires a willingness to examine past behaviors, motivations, and their consequences, aiding in the process of understanding and embracing the need for transformation. If you're not putting pen to paper every day, you will have no idea what I just said. None of it will matter. Plain and simple. See, look at this. He listed them. 65 glycine airman, 44 omega bumper automatics. That's just cold. That one was really incredible. You should see that one. A 44 omega bumper automatic. A 1909 Zenith pocket watch, which was the Lifeboat pocket watch. I sent him a picture of 5 watches and I put that one in for size and he's like, I want that one. It killed me. For myself, I grew up in a home of drugs and addicts. Sad to say, I thought it was the way of life until I was older, became sober, and experienced true life. I'm currently seeking a criminal justice degree to fight back against drugs. Brett Davis, you're a hero. For real. People that see the problem and decide to become part of the solution are my heroes. And the fact that that is your response to the life that you've had, that is about as beautiful a thing as I've ever heard. Congratulations. I am really glad to have you here, man. True story. You own a Rolex sub and dub. Yeah, the Grand Seiko is better. Yeah, I have a warm spot in my heart for the Rolex Submariner. That to me is just always going to be the watch by which all other watches are judged. It's just, they're indestructible and they're just such a beautiful design. But I think that the Grand Seiko is probably better built. I believe that. I think Zenith may be the best built watch out there, other than JLC makes a great watch too. Thank you, ZW. You're not supposed to do that on your birthday, right? But thank you. Great in red, green. Wow. Honest Tommy, I never even knew they existed until she bought me one for my 55th birthday and for being sober for 10 years. That is a hell of a gift for being sober for 10 years. I have always said this, and it's not just a move product, but you got to get a watch as a sobriety thing. You really do. And there are so many people that harp on this. But for me, I didn't worry about time. Time meant nothing. I got up and then I went to bed, right? And then what I did in between meant nothing. Oh, Cindy, I'm sorry. Cindy, thoughts and prayers for you. That is the worst. It really is. That is the worst. I'm sorry to hear that. Cindy lost her 15-year-old family member. That's tough. Well, Ian, I will be more than happy to hook you up with one. I would greatly look forward to it. And they're a great symbol that time is important. You know what I mean? I try not to be without one. The one I'm wearing now is like 120 years old. I bought it when Alan Valentine was here, and then I rebuilt it. This is the first watch I've done a rebuild on in a while. It worked out well. A rewatch is a great idea, says Bruce. That's a great last name. I love last names that end in vowels. Thank you, Bruce. And you know what? Bruce is another watch guy. Finally, patience and resilience. Change in rehab is a gradual process. Practicing patience and resilience is crucial. Accepting that change takes time and setbacks may occur helps individuals persevere through challenges, fostering a more enduring transformation. All of it comes down to putting a pen to paper. For real. It is taking your temperature. It is the canary in the coal mine, right? Earlier today, we had Jonathan Hicks being very, very open and very honest and talking about the things that were happening in his life. I know it is, Cindy. I'm so sorry. That's tough. It's losing family. Any way you shake it is what it is. It's losing family, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. I really am. If Jonathan said, you know what, I'm in a good place. I have a Calatrava here, Martha Simmons. I have a Calatrava in stainless steel, and it is a super rare one. It's actually one that women tend to buy. It's instead of the 30 millimeter, it's a 28.5. It's a pretty rare watch. They used to call it the student watch, but I do have a Patek in inventory. Beautiful watch in stainless steel. They made a bunch of them in 18 karat, not many in stainless steel. Is that square bull? This is not a bull of a watch. This watch that I am currently wearing is a Gruen. Yes, I did know that Rolex used movements in the Daytona. In fact, that is a very, very collectible watch. If you can get the year that has the years that have the Zenith movement tend to be very popular among collectors. Yep. The Zenith makes a movement that vibrates 30,000 times an hour, which is, I'm sorry, ridiculous. And that's the normal vibration for the chrono feature. It's 300,000. Absolutely ridiculous. They make a great watch, really a great watch. And I won't get too into watches. I did, but I won't. Listen, people, do me a favor, right? For real, do me a favor. I should start putting a link to the watch, Ian. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start doing that. It won't be tonight, but I'll start doing that tomorrow. And I'm also going to force Johnny Scoville to wear one of my watches on all of his shows. So we're going to do that too. Leisure, good to see you. Happy birthday, Zenwin. I look forward to next year telling you that again. You better be right here, right? A big smile on your face. We love you, ZW. We really do. And we mean that. Jackson, don't you back off a notch. You hear me? I am Captain Tommy Scoville. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 5. This right here is a cat in a basket. Right, squirrel? Got me out? Yeah, that girl. All right, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. God bless.